What's up, Matt?
What's up, buddy?
Sorry about the late notice there. I was trying to get my stuff together, and I realized I hadn't even communicated with you today.
Oh, you're golden, my man. I was actually in the process of getting set up. I've been trying to get my desk area kind of situated and dialed in. I think I'm pretty close to it.
Nice,
Um, but yeah, so I was already messing with it, getting set up.
sweet, sweet. Um, as usual, we didn't have a show topic lined up, but um, I was going to watch this new Bigfoot documentary. It's not
Okay,
very long at all, and I thought it would be fun to just do a little watch party and review it.
right
Um,
on.
I do wanna mention something. I know I told you, but, the audience doesn't know, what happened in, Chicago. I was out there for, an event, and I ran into somebody. For those of you, that have been watching the show for a while, you know I visited the Zach Baggins Haunted Museum when we were in Vegas, and, I ran into somebody, from Vegas who I don't know if she wants me to publicly, uh say her name or anything like that, so I'll keep it on the down low for now. She did volunteer to come on the show. I had to ask, so I guess it really wasn't a volunteer,
Yeah,
but,
right.
she's open-minded to come on the show. She's a sensitive, um, but, she actually knows, the museum very well because she knows Zach Baggins, and I told her about my experiences, and she was very interested, and when I told her about the white clown, our good old friend Jiz the clown,
Yeah,
uh
yeah, that little guy.
she did confirm that they do hire little people to dress as clowns. However, she's never heard of an all-white one. So, um, still no concrete proof that what I saw was real. But, I mean, I saw it. It was a real thing, but I don't know if it was an actual ghost or, whatever it was, entity. Um,
'Twas there.
but I saw it. So, it might be one of those mysteries that, I'll never know unless, we go there at night. So we were sitting at the continental breakfast at the hotel, and we were flanked by 2 people, or a couple, and then, this guy. There was a horror convention going on, so it was kinda cool, in the same hotel, and the guy next to me had mentioned, Las Vegas, and somehow we got talking about the paranormal, and he was talking about going to Vegas and how he was just there and how he went to the haunted museum, and he did the flashlight tour. He said, uh
Yeah,
he said that was pretty creepy, and that when he was in the basement with, the, uh the ritual room where they did satanic rituals and stuff, they have a spirit box, and he said the spirit box said his name.
oh snap.
Yeah, and, I told him I was down there talking shit. I was like, I wanted some shit to happen, and, some shit kinda did happen, but,
You're
uh,
down there all like King Kong ain't got nothing on me.
I think we should do the flashlight tour, dude.
All
I
right,
think
man.
I think we should go in there with some hidden cameras.
I mean, we'll do our best.
We'll try our best. You just can't walk around. It has to be hidden, so maybe if we can get some, good footage from inside, it would be fun. But,
Yeah.
Bigfoot Matt is probably my favorite subject. Um,
I mean, we do have a good time with the Bigfoot.
I love Bigfoot, and the guy that, uh, you know, that had his encounter from fucking, like, less than 10 feet away. It's like 5 feet away he sees this thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, people see these things. Now, are they figments of their imagination? Are they hallucinating? Who knows? But, I still want to believe, and every time I get suckered. Every time there's a new Bigfoot documentary, I have to check it out
Yeah,
because
I mean, well,
I have to
like,
see if it's
you
bullshit.
got to. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I figured we'd check this one out. This is a new Bigfoot documentary, 2023, The Cascades Encounter. So, for those of you that don't know, Matt lives in Arkansas. I live in Washington State, home of the Olympic Mountains and the Cascades. So, I'm very interested to see what this is about. So,
I'm I'm out here living my best life in the Ozarks.
where there are many, many tales of big feet.
What I love is how you didn't believe me, and I was like, "Yeah, the Oklahoma-Arkansas border is a hot spot." You're like, "I'm from the Pacific Northwest. We have the crown."
You guys have been having some shit go down. Um, but let's pull this up and let's just kick it off. I'm curious to see, you know, Is there any real new evidence, or are we seeing the same shit over and over again? I know there's new techniques and new tools that we're using to analyze the evidence, but I really want to see some good shit. I haven't.
Right.
I've really been into nests lately. Like some people have found some nests in the Olympic Mountains, and there were
Okay, yeah.
of them. Um, and when it comes to the DNA thing, this is what bothers me. Um, a lot of hair samples have been tested, and some have come back very interesting, like half human, half primate. Um, most of them inconclusive. I think when these people test these hairs and they realize that they have something that's unknown, they get a little weird about putting their name out there.
Yeah.
um, which could be understandable. What's up, chat? Everybody in the chat, thank you for joining us tonight. Sorry about your knee, Josh. Um,
I got nothing. I have no beverage.
I just have a diet Pepsi with me tonight. No beer. I've got plans to do some work after this, so I got to make sure that I'm in the proper mindset. Um, but yeah, let's check out. I'm just looking for something new, something interesting. I do like vocalizations. I think those are very interesting, especially there. There are linguists that have studied some of these vocalizations, and they claim that they may have a language, which is very intriguing to me.
Well, I mean, that would make sense. Like everything has a language. Even
Yeah,
all animals have a language. It's just the
yeah,
fact of the matter is a lot of people don't understand that a lot of that language is body language.
yeah. Very true. Very true. Um, Matt, have you? Let me ask you something. You're pretty outdoorsy. Let
Yeah.
me ask you
Yeah.
something. What what um tools do you think, or what animals use tools when they've made a kill and you know they want to tear up the meat or break bones? Do you know of any animals that are officially registered that do
Do
those
you
kinds of things
well, I nothing jumps to mind.
in North
Uh,
America? That is.
okay, that's an even better example. Okay, so nothing jumps to mind, but I'm gonna I'm gonna drop some of these facts.
Okay.
Well, because a lot of people don't realize this. But some folks do. So let's start off with great apes use tools.
Yes, they do.
Not necessarily for like butchering a kill, but like you'll see chimps using sticks to grab ants out of a hole. There's other
Yeah.
great apes that use that same behavior. Um, but here's another thing. Chris, what is the nickname of killer whales?
Of killer whales?
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. That's a good question. Shark killers?
Wolves,
Wolves of
wolves
the
of
sea?
the sea. Did you
They
know
hunt in packs. That's true.
they hunt in packs? But did you know that every region of killer whales has a completely different set of behaviors and hunting patterns because
Really?
they've adapted to every single environment and how to hunt?
That's probably exactly what Bigfoot's done.
They adapt. Like the killer whales in Antarctica will work in teams of like 3 to 4 and surge towards a iceberg that a
Really?
seal's laying on, or an ice flat that a seal's
Yeah.
laying on, and wash the water over it, and use the water to either wash the seal off into the water,
Yeah.
or it'll break up the ice flat. It's the ice float it's laying on, and it still ends up in the water. There are whales that have taught themselves to beach themselves to grab a seal, and then they wiggle their fat asses back into the ocean.
Really?
Yeah. So, I mean, so the fact that, like, and these are whales,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and these are like, and another fun fact, killer whales aren't actually whales, they're porpoises. They're in the dolphin family.
Mm. And it's not like they spend a lot of time on land.
No. So so just giving an example there, like, animals will adapt, animals will find, to quote the great Ian Malcolm, "Life finds a way."
The reason why I bring it up is because one thing that's been super intriguing to me is it seems like people have been running across kill sites where they've been seeing, a bunch of skulls and just animals ripped to pieces, which isn't uncommon in the woods, I imagine. You
It
got big cats out there and shit.
Well, you say that, it's more uncommon than you think,
You
like,
think so?
Well, like mountain lions will have an area in their
Mhm.
territory that they will take their kills to and eat there,
Sure.
and only there. They don't just eat where they drop it. Like if they can drag it to wherever this kill spot is, that's where they take it, and that's where. And then you'll come across like piles of bones and stuff like that.
Yeah, and, they've seen this, right?
Yeah,
And at first you think, "Okay, wild animal, bear, big cat, something like that." But then they come across tools and markings on the bones that are not teeth, not claws, and they'll find, like, good-sized rocks that are broken, and, one show that I can't get enough of is, Expedition Bigfoot. I think it's a really good show, and they've got some
yeah, you've been
really
talking
cool
about that.
technology. I'm telling you, it's great. But they found a couple different seasons, they found interesting kill sites, on I believe it was the season finale of the Alaskan Bigfoot, expedition.
Yeah,
Um, they, uh, they had a heat signature, they go out there, they find a kill site, fresh kill, and, the body's gone, right? Picked up, but they don't have, like, there's no trail of blood or anything. It's very interesting, but it was a fresh kill. Um, pieces of this animal, but, most of it gone. I just think it's super fascinating, and I really wish we knew more about these animals and, if they're real. I think they are. Um, but, you hear from hunters all the time, like, "I've been in the woods my whole life, I've never seen shit," and then you hear from some hunters who said, "Been in the woods my whole life, and I've seen plenty of shit."
yeah.
So it's very interesting. I really wish we knew how they behaved and, their migration patterns. Um, I just wish we knew more. So it's interesting when these documentaries come out, like, "Show me something new, so show me something I haven't seen." Um But, yeah, let's kick this off. Let's see what this is about.
Is this gonna
Um,
get us shut down?
I don't know. We're gonna find out. This is for educational and, commentary purposes only. We, are not intending to profit from this display. Uh, maybe
We
that'll
make
work.
no
It didn't work.
we make no claim of this.
Yeah. In fact, if you enjoy this, go watch the video for yourself. But for
Go
right now,
go.
you're hanging out with us.
Anybody at Hilltop? Copy.
All right, we got audio.
Hey, this is Kirk and Kip, and we're at the trucks coming up the trail to Hilltop.
Guys, stand down. We have trees being pushed over literally within 50 yards of the camp.
Okay, copy.
All right.
Getting good. Oh, yeah. I live right over there,
Right over there.
right next to good old Everett, Washington. Look at those woods.
Just look at them.
In August of 2020, there was a group of friends that were camping in the Washington Cascades, and we encountered what we believe was a Sasquatch. This is that story.
I reviewed a lot of the audio, so I kind of know the time frame. And basically, around 12:50 a.m., Jonathan and Shane talk about both hearing a whoop, and that shows up on the audio. But what also was going on were some knocks, and from about 12:50 a.m. up until the tree fall, which is around 1:10 a.m., those are give or take a minute or so on the times. There were distant vocalizations and knocks all around this area. And if I was to guess, there was at least 2 individuals watching them, possibly 3. Like I said, just before the tree fall, there's a definite percussive that no one heard. And actually, about 30 seconds before the tree fall, there's a distant vocal percussive, and then there's a percussive here close, and then the tree comes down. After that, I didn't find any more distant vocalizations. My impression just from the audio is that after the tree fall, whoever was here took off for a bit. It eventually came back, but took off for a bit. Everyone was excited.
I'm sure bears take down trees, right?
I mean, if it's not greatly rooted and a big enough bear's pushing on it, yeah, they'll come over. I mean,
I need to see some real fucking evidence.
bro, I'm just saying,
That-
like, turn one of us loose in the woods and we could find a tree that we could knock over.
I'm sure. There's certain things where I'm like, the evidence that comes up where it's like you could, pin it on something else. It's not good enough for me, So
Yeah.
even the evidence where like, you see tree structures and shit. If it looks like a human could have done it, I automatically disregard it. However, it is interesting that shit happens in the middle of nowhere. But crazier.
I mean,
shit
have you ever Googled survival structure with how many of those videos are out there and they're out in woods that look just like that?
Yeah.
I mean, you could be talking about a guy who was out there just making a YouTube video and someone happened upon what he left
Yeah.
behind.
The things that intrigue me are like giant trees uprooted, turned upside down, stripped of their branches, and shoved back into the ground 2 feet. That's interesting. No human being that I know of can do that. The tree branches that are like that big around, just snapped right in half, clean breaks, no claw marks, things like that. That's interesting to me.
Yeah.
And the vocalizations, some of those are very interesting.
At 1:45 is when Kirk and Kip Morrell were up on the road and they recorded the vocalization.
So prior to the tree fall, the tree crash, Jonathan Brown and myself were standing next to this campfire that we had in camp, and we were just standing next to each other, catching up, talking Bigfoot, making plans. And as we're talking, from behind us out in the woods came this whoop. I mean, crystal clear whoop. One of the best whoops I've ever heard. Your classic whoop. And Jonathan and I look at each other and we're both thinking the same thing. Did that just happen? Now there was nobody outside of camp. Everybody was accounted for in camp. It was dark, it's midnight. And I just had a feeling right there and then that this was going to be an interesting night.
Probably mad they didn't leave the White Claws out. There was an
Could just be deadfall, right?
Yeah, it really could.
It is, okay.
I mean, that tree doesn't look to be in the best of shape.
No.
You would definitely be able to see the firelight.
Well,
Yeah,
when
that's-
we came up here, we
Hold
had
on,
found a
pause.
couple other
Hey,
trees
back
that
it up
were
real
recent
fast,
blow.
if you don't mind. Just a little bit. All right, right there. Let's look at the stump. Or the base of it. Pause it.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not claiming to be a woodsman, but that's pretty rotted if a root ball didn't even come up with it.
Yeah, it looks like it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sold. Let's see what they have to say about it. Interesting that it happens, you know, coincidentally so close to
I
them.
mean, but again, like I'm saying, you find a bad enough tree,
Yeah.
even you or I could push it over.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So, all right, let's keep watching. But like I said, that looks pretty rotted to me. Like
Yeah.
it could have been just like we said, it could have been deadfall. So, all right.
You'll be able to see the firelight.
Our Sasquatch is smart enough to know the trees that are easier to push over.
I
That's a
mean,
pretty big fucking tree, dude.
that's a good sized tree, but I mean, like
That's
I
an
said,
awfully confident Sasquatch.
I mean, I did hear a knock, like they talked about. I had the audio turned way up. I heard it. I heard the knock, and then the tree fell. But I mean, I'm still not convinced. Moving on. Let's keep going.
Well, when we came up here, we had found a couple other trees that were recent blowdowns.
Mm.
But with this one, not only was it in the same direction, but the soil around it was dry. This still had moist soil. I have pictures of right in here specifically because I was wanting to show how fresh it was. And later on, when we came out to show Kirk, the soil had already begun to dry. So we know it was that fresh. It was almost these cracks. I have pictures of this crack specifically because it was really cool, but it wasn't like it was weeping because it was already kind of dry, but you could just, everything was just fresh and moist, and it had just come down. It just come
It wasn't
down.
weeping because it was a dead tree.
So the next
It is the Pacific
morning,
Northwest.
we ventured out to find the tree that had been pushed over. And we found quite a few trees, but you could tell it'd been a while. When we walked up on this one, it was fresh. And all the ferns were much larger at that point, because by then in August, they're a lot taller. But the path where this thing landed, everything was freshly smashed. And it was quite obvious. This is the one.
There's definitely enough land for something to hide.
Oh yeah.
We were about 4 miles away doing some night ops and nothing was happening. And my friend Kip Morrill and I decided, hey, we've got another bunch of our friends at a different camp. Let's go check on them. So we drove down here, and this is the trailhead area that you hike into the camp, about a half mile. And we decided, let's go in and check on them, see if they're having any activity, what's going on. We called on the radio because the guys in the camp had weapons and we didn't want to spook them, and who knows what might have happened. And so we called on the radio. We said, Kip called on the radio and said, hey guys, this is Kirk and Kip. We're at the trailhead. We'd like to come in and join you guys, because that's kind of protocol. You never just go into a camp in case they're having activity. You don't want to scare the Sasquatches away. We got no response. Kip called again, and sure enough, he got a response of a frantic voice of, no guys, don't come in, stand down, stand down. We're having crazy activity, trees getting pushed over, etc. And so then we said, okay, we'll stay out. So Kip and I stood here for a little while trying to decide what we're gonna do. And Kip kind of wanted to leave, but I said, no, let's kind of stay. We're far enough away. We're not going to interfere if they're having activity. Let's try walking down the logging road to another camp, and we'll see if we can get any activity from some other Sasquatches that might be further out on the perimeter. And so that's what we decided to do. Do you have a radio?
I do.
Okay, then we should probably call them and let them know that we're going to stumble in.
Okay.
We don't want them to get spooked and shoot us.
Recreation. That's funny.
So
Hey, folks at Hilltop, Kirk and Kip are walking up the trail. We're at the trucks right now. Did I hear a whistle? Anybody at Hilltop copy?
Come again.
Hey, this is Kirk and Kip, and we're at the trucks coming up the trail to Hilltop.
Guys, stand down. We have trees being pushed over literally within 50 yards of the camp.
Okay, copy.
we started walking up this road. We walked about 100 yards till we got up there, and the Kip was looking with his thermal, and I had audio running on my head, omnidirectional stereo mics, and he was looking with his thermal while I'm listening and recording audio. Kip saw a couple mice and he commented on it. So, oh, I see something. And I said, what do you got? What do you got? He said, oh, it's just a mouse. So, oh, okay. So then we started walking again. And shortly, right after he saw the mouse, we heard this vocalization. We were standing right up there. The vocalization came from over there. The camp where our friends were is down there. And the vocalization that we heard was, "Aye." You'll hear it.
Oh, man.
Okay,
You got something?
it's a mouse
Oh, okay.
or a rat or something getting ready to drag
Okay.
across the road. That's cool.
That was not an owl.
You know what? That was a pretty accurate recreation he did. I regret judging
Okay,
it.
I'm standing now close to the area where the vocalization came from, back behind the camera. And Kip and I were standing down the road. You can see where it bends, and further down around the bend is where Kip and I were standing. I'd say it's about 150, 200 yards away. And the vocalization came from that thick area you're seeing now, dense forest. And as soon as it had finished, Kip and I were wondering exactly what did we just hear. And I turned to Kip and I said, that was not an owl. And then Kip was a little bit wondering, well, was it our friends in the camp? And I said, no, the camp's over there. Vocalization came over there. That was not our friends. It was not an owl, and nobody else is around.
Kirk and I thought, okay, well, let's just go ahead and take a walk down the road towards Camp 7. So we're on the graveled road, and not very long after that is when we heard this sing-songing cry. And I think the most interesting part of that was, my first thought was, why are those guys yelling and making noise when they just told us not to come in and something was going on? And I think it wasn't long after that that we realized that that wasn't them. But it was kind of interesting. That's where my brain went immediately, was that it was a person, not an animal, but something, what I thought was a person or a human or something. But obviously, in listening to it later on, being where it was coming from, which in the middle of the night, in the middle of nowhere, with really no trails or roads or anything back there, it was just extremely interesting and very spooky. Thankfully, Kirk always has a recorder on, and so he is able to capture it. It's definitely something that I consider doing now when I'm going out. It was just an interesting opportunity to capture something that, had Kirk not had that recorder on, we would have never had that sound to share and to analyze.
Okay. You got something? It's a mouse. Oh, okay. Or a rat or something getting ready to track across the road. That's cool. That was not an owl.
It sounded human-like to me.
Yeah, the first one didn't, but the second one, definitely
Yeah.
sounded person.
Yeah. I'm sure you're not getting the full effect of being out in the woods and hearing it.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
trying to give it the
surely.
benefit of the doubt, but I'm like, because some of these audio clips have been analyzed, and these experts are saying that's hitting some notes that a human couldn't, which is interesting to me.
Right.
I'm of the opinion that I think they watched us park. They probably watched us walk in. I think they were around here the whole time, but they just didn't make themselves known until later.
Makes you wonder how good they are at actually hiding. Have people gone out and filmed and just grazed right over one and you just didn't know?
Later
I'm
on,
sure.
after everybody went to bed, after the tree came down and everybody kind of settled, their nerves were settled, Rebecca Anslake, myself, and David Hallett were on the ground cowboy camping just in our sleeping bags. David Hallett fell asleep, and Rebecca and I were awake, and we were listening to something move around behind us. And 4 or 5 different times, I got out my sleeping bag with the thermal units and with therm. But every time I got out of my sleeping bag, everything would stop. The movement would stop. Whatever it was would retreat. It was just quiet. And I did that 4 or 5 times. And it got really frustrating to the point where at one point, I just stood up with a flashlight because I wanted to see what this large thing was moving around our camp. It sounded large, it sounded bipedal, and it was frustrating that it was obviously watching us, and the movement I made getting out my sleeping bag made it go still, made it go quiet. Well, eventually around 4:30 in the morning, I did fall asleep, and Rebecca woke me up once. She was hearing movement getting closer to us, and I could hear it, and I told her we're going to be fine. She was a little nervous. You know, we have something big out there moving around us, and we can't seem to see it. Well, I fall back asleep, and later on that morning, daylight's coming up. That's when Rebecca saw what she saw move in behind the trees, something very large, and most definitely bipedal. And it rattled her nerves big time, big time.
Yeah, so we had Todd and Zachary had gotten in your tent, and David and Shane and I are still cowboy camping on the ground. David had woken up at one point because we had a power knock happen right back in here, and that was the one that I fully expected to stand up or
What's
to look
a
up and
power
see it.
knock?
It was right in this opening back in here. It sounded like it was really loud.
A power knock.
But about an hour after that, Shane's breathing changed. I could tell he was asleep. I decided I was going to try to stop talking and go to sleep. And it was only about not even a minute after that, I'm still looking where I had been laying, looking kind of at the 2 o'clock position. So I could see these trees, just the outline, because it was just really dark. You could just tell where the trees were. And we had a recorder there. Todd's recorder was at the base of that tree. My recorder was in the crook of that tree, because after the tree went down, I didn't want to venture too far in the woods and put it further outside of camp. But it wasn't too far from that where I started hearing something just started walking. It was through this stuff and walking into camp. And the only thing I did see was that my view of these trees, just the outline of them, disappeared. Something broad walked in front of it, and it was just pitch blackness. And I don't know if that's about the time that my heart just jumped into my ears. That was all I heard. But I kept following with my eyes trying to follow the path of where it was moving. And we're on the ground here, so it would have had to walk between Dave over here.
Jesus Christ.
We're on the ground here. You guys' tent's where that stick is. So it would have walked through here. The movement was coming through here. We're here. And I was looking up as much as I could, craning over my sleeping bag. I could have sworn it was right there. I didn't see anything, but I knew I was looking right at it. And that's what I hate about this, is that I can't prove anything.
You got guns.
And I didn't have a
Well, yeah, they're in bear
visual.
country,
This isn't
bro.
how I wanted it.
Let me ask you something, Matt.
Yeah.
Put yourself in their position.
Yeah.
You see something giant walk right through your camp. You're awake. You have a gun.
Yeah.
Do you take a shot?
I mean, so anyway, I started blasting.
I mean, you're out there to find Bigfoot. What are you looking for? Some footprints? Everybody's got footprints, dude.
Bro, I mean,
Give me some fucking blood, dude.
Not to
I'm
make
taking
this
blood.
not to make this that kind of issue, but like, I'm a white Southern male. Guns are my religion.
I'm scared. I'm gonna fucking unload a mag right where that black thing is.
I mean, first of all, like those guys said. I mean, for real though, like they're in bear country. Like, yeah, you guys have bears up there, don't you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, you're in bear country. Black bears especially are notorious for trying to eat people alive when they're in their sleeping bags.
I am putting holes in whatever. First of all, I'm not going to be if I wake up or if I hear something. First of all, I'm not going to be able to be quiet. I'm probably going to go, "Holy fucking shit. There it is." And I'm just going to fucking unload.
You're just going to lay there and let it cruise through camp.
No one will ever want to fucking go camping with me, dude.
Bro, I can tell you right now, like, I wouldn't just be out there with like for real though, like the weaponry they're carrying around for bear safety is going to do nothing but piss off a bear, let alone a Bigfoot.
What's your weapon of choice? You're going Bigfoot hunting. What are you taking?
Dude, if I'm going in the deep woods like that and I'm staying out, it's going to be
.6 or
something. No.
What?
Bigger.
Yeah.
Like probably a 45-70 government round, lever action.
Nice.
Less to go wrong.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you are hitting it with something.
Yeah, okay.
I'm very yeah, Dutch gets it. I'm very pro. If I'm gonna hit it, I'm gonna hit it hard.
Okay.
Like I understand people's arguments like 9mm versus 45. But I would honestly, if I'm gonna hit it, I'd rather hit it once or twice and it just know what's up.
Interesting.
Yeah, 12 gauge slug all day. Yeah, I mean, you don't want to go out there with birdshot. That's just gonna pepper them up real nice.
Oh, man.
338 Lapua, that would do some damage. See, this is what I'm saying. Like, I'm telling you, like, if I was going, I would have my 45 with me.
Yeah.
But I would be, I mean, my primary would be a 45-70 lever action.
Okay.
If you don't know,
I give it a little dusting. Matt wakes up from a peaceful slumber, just boom, just takes it out in one shot.
Chris is out there like, I hit it with a buckshot and it did nothing.
The news comes out to cover it. This poor thing's just fucking peppered, and there's just one hole in it. It's like that was him.
No. Have you ever heard of the movie Strange Wilderness?
Yeah.
The scene at the
when they finally just get it.
Where they finally
That's a good one.
Where they find it, he goes, "Huh?" And they just gunned that motherfucker down. Whatever we do before this show ends, we are showing them that.
Yeah.
That scene. It's gonna be a live look of what goes down at our campsite.
Yeah, needless to say, I would be dead. Like,
Could you We're out Bigfoot hunting and some poor Boy Scout troops out there trying to provide assistance. We're just like, motherfucker.
Like, well, there's not much left of this specimen. You guys. Fuck.
Oh,
Oh man,
man.
we would. You know, the poor bastard that actually takes one down is going to be hated.
Like, you killed the. Fun fact, I don't know who all plays video games here, but in the Red Dead Redemption, the first one, when they did the Undead Nightmare little tiny spin-off game,
Hmm.
there's a side quest where you hunt down Bigfoot.
Really?
Like, you keep finding them and gun them down until you get to the very last one.
Yeah.
And it's like begging you to kill it because it's the last one.
Oh god.
And so you can either kill it or just walk off and leave it. I always chose to leave it.
I just, man, I just find it hard to believe that the thing you're after, all your questions will be answered. And you really only need, I mean, if you can get blood, that's pretty
I'm
much.
gonna
I mean, you
I'm
need
gonna
a
put this
blood
I'm
will
gonna put
answer some questions.
it would. I'm gonna put this out there though, like as far as what we're talking about here with her, I imagine pitch black and you just see a disappearance of stars as something moves through and it's huge. Bro, I'm gonna tell you right now, unless you had it on your mind that you were gonna blast whatever wandered into your camp, you're gonna probably lay there frozen.
Yeah, that's true. You could be
Like, I
frozen in
guarantee
fear.
you she held her breath the entire time that thing whatever it was cruised through.
God. Hey, Bigfoot, you're spending all this time hiding, and then when you think they're asleep, you're just gonna mosey on through the fucking campsite.
I mean, you're gonna mosey on through and completely ignore the human tamales that are just laying out.
No shit. Especially the one that could be bred. I mean, I imagine the pheromones. They're probably pretty. I don't know. I
Hey man,
if
it
if I'm
triggers
Bigfoot,
horses, so I'm just saying.
really?
Yeah.
No
Oh yeah.
shit.
Yeah, you gotta be careful.
Holy shit. Wow, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, interesting. Hmm. Moving on. Let's hear the rest of her story.
to happen, but it walks through in this rush of air as it's walking past us right here. Comes from, because it came from that way, this air just goes past this side of my head and behind my head as it's walking in through here. It felt like somebody walking past you in a restaurant. That's the only way I can describe it, when you're sitting still and people are
What kind of
rushing past
restaurants
you
are you
and
going
feel that
to?
air current.
No,
But
I
it
know what she's
wasn't
talking
rain.
about. Like
Yeah.
somebody's hustling and you just feel that draft
I
come
don't know
off
what
of
to
them.
say about it other than
You had to have been able to
that's just
smell
what
it. What
happened,
did it
and
smell
I
like?
hate that happened because it's not how it's not cut and dry. I couldn't film anything. I didn't have a visual, and
Shit.
but we did have recordings. We did have audio going, and we pick up the movement. We have the percussives, and so we're just going to keep coming back.
I find
and
myself like looking in the background of these
see if it'll
videos a lot,
repeat it.
like
So
hoping
hopefully
that
that's what
something
this was
moves.
for. Had my
Like you
tent
see a
set up,
Bigfoot lean out and
had
just
the
go.
recorder inside it with a lantern. It was the guy's idea to have the lantern because I just wanted to have my tent. I didn't want something to destroy it, but
God.
trying to repeat
At first, I was thinking
as much as
cowboy camp.
possible
Are you guys
without
out of your
actually
fucking
having
minds?
cowboy
But it's
camp
like,
out here again,
oh, a
'cause
tent's
I don't
gonna
know if I
save
wanna
you.
do that.
Good God.
I mean,
The
fair
next
point,
morning,
but
I was awake in the tent and I was waiting for everyone to get up, and I unzipped the zipper a little bit a couple times just to see if anyone was awake or moving around, and no one was. So I just kind of laid on my back and I was just staring at the top of the tent. And I grabbed my phone, checked what time it was, and it was 7:01 daytime. It was overcast, but at my feet, I'm laying on my back like this, and at my feet, I saw a shadow go across the tent like that. And I thought it was Shane. I'm like, oh, good. Let's get going. Someone's awake. Let's
Come
go.
on,
Because I want to
guy.
get out of here. I want to get back to camp and regroup because it was a real freaky night. So I unzipped I sat up and I unzipped the tent, just a little bit so I can pull it down. And I'm all, Shane. I called him like 4 times, and he finally He wakes up like, what? He was under the tarp and I couldn't see him. I thought he was over here because this thing walked right here or whatever it was. I don't know what it was. And I'm like, did you just walk by the tent? He's like, no, I'm asleep. I'm like, oh, great. I'm all, and I just laid back down, just trying to think, like, what did I just see?
You're on your own.
Kind of freaked me out.
You're hunting fucking Bigfoot.
And
Doesn't even
that's really about it. I
just lays back down.
I did not feel like getting out of the tent and running anything down. I don't know what it was. It wasn't massive or anything. It was like Shane's size. So
it was a youngling.
I don't know. It's very strange.
Well, if I've learned anything from this documentary, this group will leave each other to die.
Yeah. Jeez.
I don't have to outrun the bear. I just have to outrun you.
The reason that we were at this camp was because of an audio clip that Kirk had captured in 2010, as well as an encounter with the Sasquatch that him and Nathan had in 2015.
In 2015, I was here with a Sasquatch research group, and we'd come in from another area, and this is our first night at this camp, and my tent was exactly where it is now, in the exact same tent, and it was a cold night. It was in mid-May, early May, and I had eaten some bad food, and so I just crashed, and I was dead asleep in my tent. And I was awakened to loud vocalization that started with and lots of other weird sounds after that.
Yeah, I bet.
But what happened is that woke me up, and I didn't know what it was. I was trying to get oriented in my tent, remember where we were, because that was our first night there. And then the sound started going off again. And I thought, oh my goodness, my friend Nathaniel's being attacked by a bear. I need to go help him. And so I grabbed my gun. It was pitch black. But I knew where I'd laid it. I grabbed the gun, unzipped the tent halfway, and then I realized it's quiet. There's no more sound. If he's being attacked by a bear, that I'd still be hearing something. What's going on? So I laid there in the pitch blackness, wondering, what did I just hear? And then it happened again. It started making more vocalizations.
So he went from his friend was being attacked by a bear to
making vocalizations that sounded like it was yelling words. It wasn't just making sound. It wasn't just shrieking. It was yelling a language. And so now I'm laying there with my heart just pounding out of my chest. I'm trying to think, what language am I hearing?
See, now that's interesting.
Because, you don't have to understand Russian to know somebody's speaking Russian or Japanese or something like that. But this language was one I was not familiar with at all. But my brain kept trying to place it, but it never could. It was nothing I'd ever heard before. And behind the language was an overriding emotion of frustration and disappointment behind what it was yelling. And between intermittent fits of yelling, it would stomp and break branches, and it all happened right over there. You can see the vine maple, and it was happening behind that and a little bit to the right of it. And it went on for a full 10 minutes. I remember checking my watch when it started. It was 12:37 a.m. And then when it finally finished its display of trying to, I believe, run us out of here, it stomped off down the slope to the west and southwest. And we had two friends who were camped about a quarter, half mile away in that direction, and they had audio running, and it picked it up as it was stomping through the forest near them.
So your whole goal when you're going out here is to prove they exist, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You hearing one having a little hissy fit in the woods. You got guns, and you don't go after it. Now, I'm all talk right now because obviously I'm sitting in my nice office in this nice chair. But if I'm with a squad and we all got guns and I imagine they had thermals, like, come on, guys. The fuck? What are you doing out there? You're just going to keep bringing us the same shit. I don't know. I'm a little disappointed. I better hear this audio he's talking about.
Throughout the display of it yelling language and the ee-ah that started the whole thing, it would go into coughing or clearing its throat. And then there were spaces where it wouldn't make any sound, and that was the worst. You'd think it was the worst part, hearing it vocalizing, but no, it's when it's quiet and you didn't know where it was. That's what freaked me out the worst.
An 800-pound primate.
Because when it was making a sound, at least I knew where it was, not near me. And my friend Nathan was camped right over in that direction. I'd say his tent was
easy there, buddy.
right down there. And so he was quite close to it.
I was camped out right down here. This is where my tent was.
That
Kirk
poor
was
guy had to hop through
right
the
back
woods, and this
there.
guy's just about to show him where he's
And
camped
my
out.
tent was, it's a 4-season tent. It was right here. The door was on this side. My head was down here. That vine maple was about a third of that size. But yeah, the animal came in, as I'd mentioned in another video previous, but we're on site today, had come in behind that vine maple between that Doug fir and that Doug fir there, had come up and got just in that section there and let out a long and then commenced its whole vocal fit. At this point, every time it started yelling, I would slip out of my bag a little bit more because I figured that it can't hear me moving if it's yelling. That was my logic. And so I slid out, turned around in the tent, and I remember facing in my tent right here and just being like, oh my gosh, I'd kill for a window in this tent, but it's a 4-season tent. There was just no way. So
the tent's not going to see
10 minutes go by of this thing yelling and talking, and at this point I'm just praying that other people are awake and that they can hear what's going on. And luckily Kirk was. And it started talking, and like Kirk had mentioned, it was coughing and spitting and moving around back there, and you could actually hear it going from that tree. Thump.
It knows you're there, right? It knows they're all camping.
Yeah.
How crazy would it be, like, if we were sitting there, Matt, and we're in our respective tents, and all of a sudden you hear me go, "Shut the fuck up!" Like, I wonder what it would have done.
Like, oh.
Thump, thump, thump to that other tree, and
the thing you're after
that
is
one.
right there.
It paced back and forth back over here,
and you don't do
and
anything.
we actually had enough forethought the next morning that we came out here and immediately shot video in recreation of everything that happened, so we could have it for the record. And
have it for the record.
Yeah, it was crazy, just how close it was. It was no more than 35 feet from my tent.
35 feet from the tent. They have spotlights, like million candlelight spotlights. Light that motherfucker up and make it. I just don't get it. There's your $1 million shot right there.
Yeah.
I mean, I talk a big game, and we'll see if I ever fucking run into a situation like that, what really happens. But I mean, I don't hear too many stories about these things attacking people. Now, would it have attacked if they lit that shit up? And
I
then
mean,
maybe. I mean, let me put it this way: if it wanted you dead, you'd be dead. So
yeah.
it's not gonna. They are animals. I think they're highly intelligent, though, so it would be interesting. But 35 feet, fuck. I don't know.
And it was as close as that vine maple at the time. And that's well over 7 years ago now. And it came in here, vocalized, moved away, went down to the homestead after 10 minutes of throwing a fit. And Kirk and I, he's like, yeah, like, yup. And we exited the tent. We figured it had to have been right about here when it did the first vocalization, maybe closer to that vine maple, but it came in and it just, we were just startled awake by, and then you just hear this boom, 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 and it'd pause. And there'd be silence, just complete silence for a moment, and then you hear, and then it would just stomp, stomp, stomp to the next tree, and just go back and forth for 10 minutes. And in between, every once in a while, he'd stop, go silent, and then you'd hear, and this language, some kind of, as we would define it, language. Couldn't understand anything other than that there was obvious disappointment and frustration in its voice and in the way it behaved. It just, you could tell it would vacillate between being terribly upset and then like anger, and then into emotion of sadness, disappointment, almost like
they're not
like it
doing
couldn't escape
anything.
some kind of issue. And after 10 minutes, it finally became more sad sounding in its tone, and eventually let out one longer moan, and then it walked down toward the homestead area below.
All right. Well, shout out to those guys for making this cute little documentary.
You know, it was good. It's good.
I'm not hating on them. I did a little bit. Honestly, though, like I can sit here from my little soapbox all day and say what I would have done differently. But 35 feet and something that I believe to be 7+ feet tall, 500+ pounds. Maybe I would stay in my tent.
Yeah.
Fucking holding my fucking little
And
gun
just hope it's enough to keep it from wanting to rip you apart.
I don't know. If I'm gonna die, I want to see this fucking thing coming at me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm hoping somebody finds the SD card of the fucking shit I have. But if I'm with a squad, I think I'm gonna have to, like, hey, are we all clear that if we hear some crazy shit, we're not gonna be pussies because there's 10 of us and we're gonna go out of the tent. I'll be the one holding the flashlight. You guys can shoot it. That way I'm unarmed. I don't know. It's 35 feet away from you and it's fucking speaking in a language. How can you just pass that opportunity?
Yeah.
Everything you need, the evidence you need is right there.
Well, what cracks me up is they didn't get audio of it.
Yeah, no shit.
They didn't record. They just sat there.
I mean, maybe you're just hanging out. Maybe you're just hanging out in the woods, I guess. But man.
I mean, they're there for that. They're out there Bigfoot hunting, and they didn't have.
What you
Like,
need is
even that lady said they had recorders out. You mean tell me you had recorders within your camp and you guys didn't get footsteps?
no shit. I think the move is to set up camp and get like maybe 3 dudes that are like experienced linemen, right? You have
Yeah.
them be scouts. You have them like they're on night shift with fucking night vision, and they gaff up a fucking tree, and just hang out, just chill.
SEAL team Squatch.
Dude, maybe that's it. You get a team of fucking Navy SEALs up in that bitch, and some real tech. And also, you've got something that big. You're telling me it stomps around and shit, and you don't have somebody that can track. It's going to
Yeah.
leave evidence at some point. The thing's going to have to take a shit. Okay, let's be honest here. It's gonna have to take a piss or a shit. It's probably gonna leave some hair, definitely some footprints. I mean, I don't know. When I hear something like that, it just angers me because I'm like, 35 feet away, you could have fucking lit that bitch up, had pictures, fucking at least audio.
Yeah.
You
All
know?
right. Well, hey, before we go, let's pull up Strange Wilderness clip.
Oh, that'll get us. But it's the end of the show. That's perfect.
Yeah, it's the end of the show. Like I said, before we go, I doubt that clip will get us booted. But
Do you have it? Did you get
it? I can find it.
Find it now.
And I'll send you the link. Oh my god, it's right there at the very top.
All right, folks. I hope you enjoyed that little viewing of that little documentary. Not bad. I'll rate it a 6 out of 10.
It was a good documentary for sure, for real.
They did have that one vocalization. Like I said, it sounded human, but I wasn't there in the woods when it happened, so can't really say too much about it. But it's evidence.
Oh man.
I don't know. I haven't seen too much that's really impressed me lately. And it's 2023. They have to have some good footage these days. There has to be something coming out soon. I'm hoping. Technology's getting better. All right.
This is my going away present. This is a live look of how it's gonna go down when Chris and I hit the woods.
Oh man.
POV.
3, 2, 1, 0. Talking now. Hi, I'm Peter Galkey, and this is Strange Wilderness. Camped here, waiting to film Bigfoot. That's right, you heard me, Bigfoot. Animals have long been known as animals, not human.
Is this us,
They've been
Matt?
described as stupid, cowardly, aggressive, dim-witted, low beasts, eager to kill, eager to eat, eager to fornicate, eager to stampede, all. But is it animals we describe, or is it mankind? Huh? Perhaps this
freaking Farva over there
bridges the divide between us and them. Perhaps his gentle
bruh.
ways can teach us, remind us that peace and harmony are necessary if mankind is to survive.
Oh,
What?
Huh? Oh, fuck!
Hey,
Can we talk about what an
you
all-star
remember what
cast this movie had?
big bastard said before he came at us?
I think he said, huh? Like he wasn't sure what was going on.
No, it was more of a growl.
Yeah, totally.
Actually, you know what? It was more like a death growl. It was like, huh? I'm gonna kill you. I mean, I heard that.
Yeah, no, I did too.
Yeah.
I heard it too. Didn't I?
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what he said,
Yeah. I've just never killed anything before. But it was in self-defense, so.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. The lady's right.
This mythological beast was engineered by the French. Fuck, I was so blind to not see it before. It was designed by the French in the early 50s to fuck and eventually kill American people. He would have come and fucking killed all of us.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I read
hey,
that.
you know what,
Like, if a mosquito is buzzing around your ear, do you let it go like, oh, hey, go keep on bothering me and like sting me and let me get West Nile virus? No, you fucking smack it like we did. Only we did it with guns.
I don't know, guys. I mean,
What?
well, I mean, fuck him, right? Chris deserved to die, right? Hairy carnivore son of a bitch. You see the way he came at us, all up in our face and all.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck you, you fuck.
Yeah.
Fucking cock tease.
What
And I
was
seen
what was
this deer
that?
laying over there. It was the deer that I'd shot the night before, but it was torn completely in two. Like, no.
I think that's a good place to stop. I don't know what that is, but it looks very good.
Yeah,
Season
what's
of
in your history
Sasquatch.
now?
Sasquatch unearthed. Interesting. All right, folks. Remember, anything's possible. 1,000% maybe. And Matt, it's your turn. Say it. Don't stick your dick in a portal,
Oh
Matt.
yeah, okay.
Jesus Christ.
I was like,
I knew I
what
threw you
line?
off there.
You took my line. I'm like, huh?
I fucking threw him off. There's only so many times you can say, remember, don't stick your dick in a portal before you start feeling weird about it.
I mean, I feel like 2 times is one too many.
I think it is. We might be retiring. Don't stick your dick in a portal. But thanks for joining us, folks. I don't know what we're going to talk about next week. I guess we'll figure it out next week, right?
I mean, we could do that. We could do the Bigfoot thing. I don't care.
Should we do another Bigfoot thing? Maybe we'll do another Bigfoot thing. I don't know.
I mean, I enjoy this hypothetical Chris out in the woods, like break yourself, fool, and start capping.
Dutch guys, no. I'm hungry. I'm gonna go get something to eat.
Instructions
on
What
that
up,
note, folks. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later.
Good night, everybody.